I think that this is an ideal time in the market to be having open houses.
Agreed.
In the correct way, because I think again, buyers are starting to come back in and they're starting to test the waters a little bit. I think they're a little bit higher up in their search process than they were the last couple of years, right? The last couple of years, buyers were going to open houses because their agents were too lazy to show them houses. I think going forward for this next season, we're going to see buyers are kind of back to the original idea, which is I'm going to start going to open houses before I have an agent, right? So
yeah. A lot of times, back over the past few months, the open houses were because that was the first weekend it was on the market too. So you had a lot of those buyers coming through that had agents that their agent was like, well, just go to the open house on Saturday or however they want to do it. So I think you're right about that for sure.
I think too, number one is like, I feel like the hard part of this last couple of years is we didn't get the full bandwidth out of our listing because like you said, Lauren, like it was on and off the market in one weekend. So we couldn't market it the way that we would normally do to get additional leads. You couldn't really get as many sign calls. You couldn't do the open houses. You couldn't do the neighborhood mailings. You couldn't do all of that stuff. And now we've got a little bit of leg room to be able to do that, which I think is super important to be able to leverage that, right? So remember that an open house, yes, you can get buyers from that, which is great, but also remember that this is an opportunity for you to display what your listing skills are too, right? So to think about the people that come to the open house and think about a lot of times it's nosy neighbors, right? Well, nosy neighbors are future clients. I can attest to that 100%, right? So if you're doing your open house, you're finding out, don't just discount the nosy neighbor because you're like, oh, well, they're just here to look at decorating ideas and they're not going to buy a house. Okay, but they are a great person to start creating that relationship with because when they're ready to sell in a year or two, you're still going to be in real estate. You're still going to want to be doing it, right? So
a lot of times those neighbors too are already kind of thinking, well, I might be selling this next year. I want to go see what my competition looks like or what does the inside of that kitchen look like for 600,000 versus the one I just updated, So they may say they're not interested, but a lot of people wouldn't take 30 minutes out of their day if they didn't have something in the back of their head about selling at some point.
I think that's a great perspective. And I would say too, on an open house, I mean, if you can add 5 people to your database from your open house, I think to me, that's a win, right? Even if it's not necessarily somebody that's immediate, going to be able to, buy or sell in the next 30 days. But if you can add 5 people, you're at the top of the funnel for those 5 people. And now you're going to be able to indoctrinate them into your experience, your skills, your, how you represent your clients. And then when they are ready to go, they're not even going on Zillow. They're not looking at anything else. They're calling you immediately.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course you did, Jamie Flanagan.
Okay. I just got to speak for a second to Miss Jamie Flanagan because, she's in my local market now. And I always knew she was a ninja. But, obviously now that she's here with me in my backyard and I'm so excited. I love having her in my backyard. But you just see a little bit more stuff or it just resonates with you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Jamie spoke on our stage at Beach Fest and she was incredible. She spoke a lot to building a portfolio and all of that. But I will tell you, she is such an amazing example of never getting too big for your britches, if you will. Right? Like when she said she was door knocking, it was she was out door knocking, right? Having these conversations. She's freaking in the trenches, making calls to FSBOs. She's calling expired sellers and she is freaking raking it in right now in a brand new market. So for you ladies who are maybe in a brand new market or you're just selling, starting in real estate, all these little things that you might be kind of brushing off like, ugh, I don't want to do that or ugh, like I'm above that maybe. I'm telling you guys, it's that hard work that's down in the dirt that's what's going to build your guys' business. And so, don't be afraid to get a little dirty at the beginning, right? So